everyone, my name is Alok Mishra and I welcome all of you once again on my YouTube channel after many days. So in this video, we are going to discuss a character, and by discussing a character, I mean how to attempt a character sketch of any character from play, a novel, a long epic kind of poem, or even from a short story, or even from other forms of literature. So a character sketch is a character sketch, and it can take place irrespective of the genre or form of literature we discuss. And before I get into discussing how to write the character sketch, how to attempt making a character sketch of some character that you're tasked with, let's discuss what a character is and how many aspects of a character are there. So what is a character? First of all, there are two kinds of character. One, active characters who actually participate in the development of the plot and who actually indulge in some different kinds of actions. And there is second type of character, which is like mute character. For example, in some plays or some novels, you must be seeing like the nature was observing everything. And if it appears many times, then the author or the novelist is trying to make you believe or trying to imply that, see, nature may be mute spectator, but it is still observes everything that we do. So those are mute, or those are silent characters who observe everything, but they don't indulge in direct actions, or they don't indulge in some observable activities. So I hope you get the point. There are two kinds of character. One, which actually takes part in the course of action, and second, which just observes and don't participate in the course of actions. So now, as we know there are two kinds of character, let's slip into discussing what are the aspects of a character. So first of all, what is a character? A character is a medium that an author, a novelist, a poet, or a dramatist employs to propagate his thoughts, her thoughts, opinions, ideas, thought process, ideologies, etc. So a character, first of all, is a medium or a kind of facilitator who plays the role of intermediary between the audience and the author of any kind, a novelist, dramatist, poet, essayist, anything. So more than being an intermediary, what else is a character? Then we may say that a character is someone, a tool or a driver who actually takes forward the course of action, the storyline, or executes the important actions that drives the plot itself. So in short, a character, first of all, is an intermediary between you, the audience, and the author. And second, a character is also a tool that drives the storyline and executes important actions that takes the plot forward. Now, after understanding the types of character and also in short what a character might be, let's come to the point to understand how many aspects or how many facets a character has. Now let's see, like a character plays individual roles. Like if a character in a play appears 3 or 4 times, we say he or she is a minor character, but he or she does indulge in the course of action, does something, brings something, fights with someone, or reveals a secret or something, many things. And then there are characters who are major characters, the protagonist or someone close to the protagonist, or someone a little far but still closer in the circle around the protagonist. So major characters and minor characters are two different kinds of characters, two different sets of characters. Now a character individually performs the actions assigned to him or her by the author, novelist, playwright, a poet, anyone. Now I will just start referring to this term as author, and you should understand like an author may be anyone, novelist, dramatist, poet, essayist, anyone. So the roles assigned to a character played individually is the individual actions or individual facet of the personality of a character. Now we come to the grand scheme of the work of literature, and in that grand scheme, let's say a circle, what is the importance of the actions executed by this particular character? So in a circle, where does the actions performed by character A, B, C, D stand? So if in a circle, the impact of this character's action is like that, or like that, or like that, then we can say he or she is a major character. But if the impact in a circle is like that, a dot here, a dot there, a dot there, then we can say this character is a minor character having very little or even no influence on the grand scheme of the work of literature. I hope you understand the point. So there are two facets or two aspects of a character: individual and impact on the grand scheme of the work of literature. And when we attempt to write a character sketch, when we attempt a character sketch of major or minor characters, then we have to assess individual actions, individual personality, individual appearance, as well as the impact of everything that a character performs or does in the course of the action, in the course of the development of the work of literature, on the whole work of literature, on the work of literature as a whole, on a grand circle or the scheme of the work of literature. I hope I'm not complicating it. So there are two facets of any character: individual as well as the impact on the work of literature as a whole, in which he is or she is a part of. So how to attempt a character sketch? Now we come to that important part. First of all, before I say anything about writing a character sketch, let me reaffirm and assert that you have to go through the works in your syllabus entirely. There is no alternative to that. If you get information about a character from some other source, secondary sources like notes or bulletins or lead charts or any other form, then you get all the information about the character, whatever the person is supplying to you, in a secondary source way or in a medium which is secondary to the character. Like, you are not observing his or her actions directly. You are listening to something that someone else is telling. Someone else's observation plays an important role here. And in that way, you'll not be able to assess the performance or the impact of a character on the work of literature. So my suggestion before doing anything else is you have to go through anything and everything in your syllabus in its entirety. So there is no alternative to reading a text thoroughly, completely, and to the last full stop. So that is my first suggestion. Now, suppose you have to write a character sketch about a character ABC. So before writing, you start to write, just assess or try to remember what kind of character ABC is. Is it a minor character? Is it a major character? Or is it a protagonist? So before doing anything, you will have to remember and then decide and then ascribe a role to the character: major, minor, or the protagonist himself or herself. And if you can see, this is only possible if you have gone through the text yourself. So if you have read the text, you will easily remember, yeah, this is the protagonist, this is a major character, or this is a minor character. But just to make things lighter, no minor characters are as important as someone, asking you to write a character sketch about that. So the character must be major, or the character must be the protagonist himself or herself. Now, once you decide the role of the character, like the major or minor or the protagonist, then you have to remember the first appearance of that character. Now again, if you have read the text yourself, you should easily remember, like, this was a time when the character first appeared. For example, King Lear, like, he has a giant personality, he has a passionate personality, and his actions describe him in many ways. So you should easily remember, like, he appears like that and he appears as an imposing character. Now let's try to remember what kind of character is Gabriel Oak. So his first appearance in the novel Far from the Madding Crowd is telling us that he is a meek kind of character, amicable, friendly, but still fragile, emotional, sentimental, etc. So first appearance of any character is very important. Once you remember the first appearance, you can start right with the quote or extract or the lines from any work of literature itself, like A, B, C, these lines, and A, B, C appears in these lines, or start with those lines in the bracket and just start writing the first appearance of the character. So that will tell the examiner the person who is attempting this character sketch has gone through the work of literature and he or she understands the importance of the first appearance, and then in the course of development of your answer you can put everything else that we will discuss later. Now, as you go on describing the first appearance, you should also remember what is the mood of the narrator, what is the attitude of the narrator of the work of literature towards the character you are describing. Is the narrator cynic about this character? Is the narrator enthusiastic about this character? Is the narrator a little confused about describing this character? Is the narrator very happy and pleasant describing this character? So narrator's mood and narrator's attitude towards any character is very important, and you should always try to assess that as you read the work of literature. Now, going forward and moving aside from the first appearance, what kind of a person your character ABC is? Is he or she a sentimental person, a thoughtful person, a rigid person, a friendly person, or an envious kind of person, an envious person, a zealous person, an enthusiastic person, a friendly nature? So whatever personal details you can gather from your reading, you have to keep in mind everything, and in short you can describe what kind of a person your character is. As you describe the personality of the target character ABC, you can also mention his family appearance, his social appearance, his dresses, the way he or she talks, the way he or she indulges with other persons, romantic relationships, kind of activities that this character indulges in. And then in personal details, you can also mention whether these details are truthful or not. Is the character trustworthy, or is the character deceitful? Is he or she a hypocrite, or he or she a truthful person? So in personal details, you can mention the activities, the attitude, the behavior, the social appearance, the individual appearance, the personal details like the person within himself or herself in soliloquies or in self-addressed communication. What is a way that he or she describes himself? Does he or she make some diary entries where he or she reveals the facets of the character? So in personal details, you will mention everything as someone else observes, also as the person himself or herself observes. So starting with the first appearance, then the mood or the sentiment or the attitude of the narrator towards the character, describing his or her personal details, describing the kind of actions that he or she performs in the course of the novel. Now we come to some important aspect, and then we assess what kind of actions does the character indulge in and what is the impact of that action, those actions, activities, or anything that the target character ABC does on the grand scheme of the work of literature. For example, let's try to remember the witches in the Macbeth, a great play by Shakespeare. So in Macbeth, the witches appear very few times, but whenever they appear, they impact the course of action dramatically, gigantically, and influences the mind of the protagonist Macbeth in a way that no other character in the work can. So the witches, even without appearing too frequently in the course of the development of the play, impact the play in a great way. So you have to measure any character's action in the terms of individual performances and also in terms of the impact on the giant or on the grand scheme of the work of literature that the character plays a part in. I hope you understand the point. Individual actions are here and impact of individual actions in this circle, which might be encircling everything if the character is a protagonist, or which might be a little but still impactful, as it may change the course of action. It may change the entire scheme of the work of literature. So you have to assess individual actions, individual performance, and also its impact on the work of literature as a whole. And so, after assessing the character on many different levels, now is the time to put your individual remarks about the character. How does a character make you feel? If the role is negative or positive, accordingly, how does it make you feel? Do you feel sympathetic, happy, pleasant, or angry, anguished, or even abusive towards the character? So has the author been successful in getting your feelings out towards the character? Does it make you feel pity? Does it make you feel angry? Does it make you feel happy? Does it make you feel confused, perplexing, or complex? So any feeling that you generate towards the character in the course of reading or observing his or her actions, you have to put all those in your individual remarks, and then at the end of the character sketch you will try to assess the role of the author. Now note put the character aside. How successful or unsuccessful has the author, the writer of this particular work, has been in bringing the best of the character? Has he given the character a space to change himself or herself, or has he limited the scope of actions of the character? So after judging the character, in the end of your character sketch, you will judge the author's work in making that character successful or unsuccessful. So in the end, I'll put everything on screen and I'll just recap everything so that you can note it down if you want, or you can just remember how to attempt a character sketch in ABC terms. So we'll begin with the very first appearance of the character, and before doing that, do remember to measure, or do remember to decide about the role of the character. Is he or she a major, minor, or the protagonist himself or herself? Now after doing that, you have to put the first appearance, and it would be better if you begin with a quote about the character's first appearance. And after noting down the first appearance, you can mention the narrator's attitude towards the character throughout the work of literature. After that, you can put character's personal details, how he or she appears in the society, how he or she takes care of the relationships, how he or she indulges with other people. Is he a deceitful character? Is he a good-natured character? Is he a character with many schemes, or is he a character who is himself fooled by the circumstances and people around him? So you will put personal details about the character, and then also how the character observes himself or herself. Like if the society thinks character ABC is a successful person, is the character actually successful in his or her own eyes? So we'll put the observant detail, like someone else observing the character in the grand scheme of the literature that you are reading, and also how the character assesses himself or herself. After the personal details, you will put what actions does the character perform. Are the actions course changing, plot changing, or making big impact on the work of literature as a whole, or are the actions minor? After that, you will put your personal assumptions or your personal observations about the character. How do you feel about the character? How do you feel as a result, or as the consequences of the actions performed by the target character that you're writing about? Does it make you feel pitiable towards the character, happy for the character, or angry about the actions? So you'll put everything about your personal assumptions or personal opinions about the character in that section, and in the end you will put how successful the person or the author of this literature has been. Has he been successful in giving the character a space to develop fully, or has he limited the scope of changes? Has he limited the scope of actions in the character? And do remember, I missed something, like in the course of writing his personal or her personal details, like personal details about the character, you should also mention, is the character a flat character or a round character? That means, does the character change with time? For example, if you remember the character of Bosola in The Duchess of Malfi, he keeps changing as the plot develops, and in the end, you see like he becomes someone who understands the plight of the queen and also the plight of other characters around him. So he's a round character who develops from being a cynical person, being a rigid and being a negative person, to being a positive, a sympathetic, and someone who understands the miserable conditions of other people around him. So you should also mention this aspect. Is the character changing with the course of actions, or is the character rigid even after the end of the work of literature? And after that, you will put the writer's success or writer's failure in giving that particular character a space for being fully developed or just being the same as you notice the character in the first appearance. So this is a way that we can put some character sketch. We can write a character sketch. We can attempt sketching someone's character in any work of literature. Maybe it's a novel, a play, a short story, a long poem, anything. A character is a character, and these are the steps that you can use while attempting a character sketch. And do remember, as I always say, you can always make it better. Try to judge the character with your own prowess, with your own literary senses, and see if you can add or subtract something from this course of action of attempting character sketch and make it better. So this was it for today, and I'll be bringing more videos like this very soon. All the best, and thank you for watching.